Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Fan Talk. I'm David.
And I am not. I'm Simon.
So we got our Throwback Thursday.
Yes, we do. All the way since last Thursday until next Thursday. Every Thursday will be a Throwback Thursday.
Every Thursday will be a Throwback Thursday. So in the essence of the time of year it is, I went ahead and picked a scary movie, if you want to call it that. But also a very funny movie.
I was going to say, what is the scary part of this movie?
Okay, it's not scary, but it has monsters in it.
Okay,
How about that? Okay, so I went with the Army of Darkness.
Okay.
Army of Darkness. So Army
Evil
of
Dead 3.
Yeah, for people that don't know, Army of Darkness is technically Evil Dead 3. It follows Evil Dead 2, which is the story of Ash. He is sucked in through the book, and he is taken back in time, and he
Through a portal.
through a portal, yes,
Involved in the book. Yeah.
yes, and now he is stuck in the past, and he has to quest. He must quest for the Necronomicon.
Yeah, I think the end of Evil Dead 2 shows him appearing in basically what appears to be a medieval setting. His car landing next to him, and at this point in Evil Dead series, he's lost his arm, has a chainsaw attached.
Yes,
and he also has his boomstick.
he has his boomstick. That's right. So Evil Dead was released on October 9th, 1992. But it was actually only went to film festivals, and then it was actually released widely on February of 1993.
Evil Dead?
Yes.
Okay.
No, Army of Darkness.
Okay.
Yeah, Army of Darkness. Sorry, it was released in 92 in October, but that was just at some film festivals, so it wasn't released until February of 93 in theaters.
Let's also look at context. Early 90s, film festivals were huge as far as giving movies extra life. If they do well at film festivals, it's probably going to do well in the theaters.
Yeah.
And it's also how movies such as Brothers McMullen, Clerks, and a ton of others. 90s was a big time for film festivals and independent movies. So
yeah.
A little context there why they would do that.
So the movie actually was made for $11 million. Originally, they were wanting to make it for $8 million. When they started filming, they realized really quickly that wasn't going to cut it. So they were riding off the old success, of Darkman. Okay. And so the studio ended up coughing up some extra money to get them up to $11 million. They actually... It was actually directed by Sam Raimi. He ended up chipping in some of his own money at the end to reshoot the ending because they had to do a different alternate ending. So the movie was pretty costly, as far as budget goes for that time. And when you watch the movie, you can kind of see why. I like the shots that were done and the makeup and everything. For that time, that was kind of expensive to do.
So a lot of stop motion, too, for some of the skeletons and stuff.
Yeah, and so it was not necessarily a cheap movie to make. It made $21.5 million. So it was, at the time, it wasn't a huge success.
I was going to say theaters get back half of that.
Yeah, it wasn't a huge success. It wasn't considered a flop, but it wasn't considered Darkman by any stretch.
Yeah, the studio financing CPAs are probably like, why do we do that? We broke even, at best.
Yeah, definitely, it was not the best investment, but at the time. But, of course, afterwards, this movie picked up a huge cult following along with the other two films. Now, this movie did not pick up as much acclaim as the original two, which is kind of funny because as far as overall storytelling and filmography, it's light years better. But as far as story and that cult classic feel,
I think raw screenplay and script, the original two were better. Yeah. But this one also upped the cheese factor.
Yeah, a lot. Really leaned heavily into that,
which is why it got to be a cult following because it's so entertaining.
Yeah, it was so entertaining. It was a lot of pulp. It was almost like a pulp kind of film. It was a lot of fun. It had Bruce Campbell in it.
He's made for that.
Yes, Elizabeth Daviditz. Bridget Fonda was in it. Marcus Gilbert are the only big names anybody's going to really recognize. It was dedicated to, Irvin Shapiro. He actually died during the making of the film. So the film was actually dedicated to him. The movie had some of the greatest quotes, in my opinion, of all time. I mean, that's the one where he's like, "This is my boomstick." My favorite line always is when the the girl that he literally has a crush on throughout the movie gets turned into a zombie, and she's like, "You found me beautiful once." He's like,
Baby.
"Yeah, baby, you got real ugly."
Shop smart. Shop S smart.
Shop smart. Shop S smart.
Did he do the voice of Duke Nukem?
Yes.
Okay.
But a lot of just classic,
Hail to the king,
funny
baby.
lines. A lot of people don't know this. Actually, they had to shoot a new ending. The original ending, he misjudges the potion that he takes, and it actually takes him to an alternate future where humanity has pretty much been destroyed by the zombies and whatnot. And he kind of like wakes up and realizes he's running late, and he gets up and goes out, and like the world is destroyed, and they're like, "Oh, it's too bleak." The studio was like, "It's too bleak. Gotta do something different." So that's how we ended up with the different ending.
Yeah, Shop S smart. And then
Shop
he shoots
S smart, and he shoots the zombie.
the beginning of the zombie apocalypse, maybe.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, but the movie is a whole heck of a lot of fun. It really isn't afraid to make fun of itself. I forgot. This is probably my favorite. The favorite, actually, the whole thing is when he's going to get the book. He has to say special words because in every film you watch where you got to say these special words, you got to say the spell just perfect, and you got to get it. And you always, as a fan, there's that party that's like, what would happen if you got it wrong? What would happen if you got it wrong?
Natu, Vrata.
There. I said it. I said it. Okay. He just takes it. I love it. He's just like, he can't remember it. He's like, he's looking around. He's like, okay, I said it. Forces that be, I'm just going to take this book now. It's like, it was great. It was great. It was just hilarious. Bruce Campbell, another one of those guys, is just like, I'm a huge fan of the stuff he's done. I love watching him. Bubba Hotep's fantastic. I didn't have it on my Halloween list, and I was talking to my wife about it the other day, and she's like, "Let's get that and watch it." So we're actually going to watch that together tomorrow night.
I was going to say, have it if you need to borrow
Yeah, it's like we're going to watch that together tomorrow night. I'm really excited to watch it with her because I know she's just going to get a kick out of it and really laugh a lot.
Did you tell her that the look of JFK in the movie?
I did not.
Okay. Before watching, you need to tell her that. You just got to look at her face.
Yeah, but it's just, his stuff. Even like the TV series he's done. There's very little I've seen Bruce Campbell in that I haven't just really dug.
He's always a highlight in the Raimi Spider-Man series too.
Yeah, he's one of those people that I really hope here in the near future, between this show and Comic-Cons and all that I get a chance to meet him. He's one of those cats I haven't got an opportunity to, so hopefully sometime soon.
All right.
So, what little film did you decide to chat about this week?
Contact, 1997.
Contact.
Starring Jodie Foster and Matthew McConaughey, fresh off of Dazed and Confused.
Dazed and Confused. Matthew McConaughey.
All right.
I keep getting older. They stay the same age.
I really like this movie. Carl Sagan originally wrote this as a movie.
Yeah, Carl Sagan.
He wrote it as a movie, and then he couldn't get it made just yet, so he went back and wrote it as a book.
It's a book.
And then he was involved in the whole thing, died a few months before it came out, unfortunately.
Yeah, Carl Sagan, let's take a second and just honor that man. What an interesting character.
Like, brilliant scientist, but he was great at connecting science to people.
And he was one of those people that really... I think there's things that I disagree with him on. There's a lot that I totally agree with him on. But, the one thing I really loved about him was his ability to make science relevant.
And accessible.
To accessible. Yeah, I guess that's to make it accessible, not relevant. That's a better word. To everybody. Not just, like, scientists. And to take the things that are important for people to know and get it out there, because before his little show, he had that little show that he did, and and even the books and movies that he contributed to. Fantastic man. And anyways, let's continue here.
This only had a 62% on Rotten Tomatoes, which surprised me because the movie generally has pretty good acclaim for a number of different reasons.
Yes.
Scientific accuracy, the whole science religion dichotomy, the acting. So I think that kind of isn't quite relevant or showcase the actual appeal of the film or the quality of it for sure. Budget of $90 million, made $171 million. Wasn't a showstopper on box office, but it did okay. And obviously made his money back in the time since, more than that with rentals and everything else. The basic outline of the plot, I don't think there's any spoilers here. It's been 22 years. Covers the scientist played by Jodie Foster, who is doing research into SETI. Starts off opening and her working at the Arecibo array in Puerto Rico.
In Puerto Rico.
And her funding gets cut there. She decides to arrange some other funding. She gets some from a multi-billionaire guy and ends up using the Very Large Array. Scientists have great names for things.
Yeah.
The Very Large
The Very
Array.
Large Array.
What
is it?
The Big Bang.
It's a big, giant array, yeah.
Yeah, anyway. So she gets to the VLA, gets to use that for study purposes. Also shows flashbacks to her losing her father as a child. While her signal's about to get cut again, her funding's about to get cut again, she hears the signal from space. She makes the discovery. They have to decipher the signal, find out what's in, like, how to break it down, what else is in there. It has blueprints.
How to
read those blueprints, how to learn their language. Yeah. And it kind of covers in very...
How to build something.
Yeah. And it covers in a very realistic, step-by-step, like how the world would probably react to a lot of this.
Yeah.
And it's one of the first, like, this is actually pretty realistic. I mean, you can nitpick things here and there, but it shows it shows religious fanatics freaking out about it. It shows politicians.
I like to look at
it.
this too. It's like there's a lot of people that believe different things. There's people like they say that this day and age, right? That 50% of you, okay, actually a larger number of that watch this show, but 50% of the world believe now that there is some sort of life beyond this planet and that it has probably visited here and that our government keeps it a secret from us and that they keep that because we'd all panic and lose our heads. And I mean, I think this kind of accurately depicts how
some people do.
Some people do. Most people, I don't think really will.
Most people are just going to be interested.
People will be interested and just like, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
The religious nuts, you're going to have the people that believe that somehow it's going to bring us all together and make more sense of things. You got those people that are going to be oddballs and flip out.
Yep.
But
so they decipher there is a plan to build some kind of machine. They decide to go ahead and build it. Oops is blown up by Jake Busey.
Another thing about this, though, that I think is hilarious, that is totally real because this would happen in real life. Aliens send you a message to tell you how to build something.
Mm-hmm.
And when you build it and you look at it, you're like, man, this don't have a chair in it. We better put a chair in the thing. Why would you do that?
Yeah, we know better.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Have you discovered it?
I'm sorry. You figured out how to travel across the stars? No, you haven't? Take the freaking chair out of there.
Yeah.
Anyways.
First one blows up. They find out there's another one being built in secret, which is probably a good idea in the first place.
Yeah, and again, very true. Why build one when you can build two for twice the price?
Yeah. So they strap her in. They put her in the machine, and she gets whisked across the galaxy to meet Dad.
Yeah,
you never actually see the aliens. It's one of the kind of disappointments of the movie. But you do meet them. They take on a basic avatar form, representing her father. She has a conversation with Dad. Well, we'll circle through things.
Yeah.
We finish out the plot. Then she comes back, and everyone on Earth says, you weren't gone. You just dropped straight through the thing. You never disappeared. Yeah. And then you're kind of like... The whole movie is this really big science versus religion dichotomy of which really was in the book a little bit, but they ramped it up for the movie, and it worked great.
Really great about faith.
About faith. And she's finally forced to accept that she has to get people to believe that she went there based on faith.
Yes.
And then the religious person says, I actually one for one believe you. And it's this great interplay throughout the whole movie. They don't harp on it too much, but they definitely talk about it enough that it makes some good points.
And it makes a lot of good points because she is a total, you have to talk about how she is a total scientific mind. So for her, there has to be proof for everything. Mm-hmm. And she loves the preacher and she cares about him, but she is very irritated with him because he takes on this belief without having proof. And so in the end, when
he asked her at one point in the movie, at one point in the movie, she's like, I gotta have proof for everything, and he's like, well, did you love your dad? Prove it.
Yeah.
Just like little things like that.
Yeah, but I just like the fact that in the end, exactly, she's called upon to prove something that she can't prove, but she knows with every bit of her is real. And so it was that nice, and how it brings them together. It was just the way it was done. I thought it was told. It was a well told story.
And then the thing that gets me, even the other day watching it again, I still like. Yeah, it was your recorder recorded nothing but static until they immediately turn it off, and then the NSA guys and the other girls what interests me is not that I recorded static. 18 hours of static. I know it.
Yeah, Yeah, it's like it
proved her right.
It proved her right, but they're not going to release that.
Yeah,
yeah, and it was a great film. Like I said, I think the story was really well told. I do disagree with you on the letdown, though, because, again, this is where you and I differ in a little bit. In movies, I don't need the monster. I mean, sometimes you do. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you do.
I'm not saying it's a letdown. I'm saying you're not going to meet an alien.
Yeah.
You're going to meet an avatar of an alien.
Yeah.
Like Steven.
Yeah.
I mean, she does get to meet the aliens, but you don't get to see what they look like.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, the thing is for the justification of the film, it made a lot of sense, though, too. It was kind of like, hey, we are bringing you here because this is how it's done. This is how we get the ball rolling. It's how we first meet. Eventually, we'll go past this point, but this is the first step. And again, I think makes a lot of sense if there's life out there and how
they're going to give us keys to the car immediately.
Yeah, you didn't give keys to the car immediately. Give baby steps to get you there.
Yeah,
and it makes total sense.
A couple different things I want to point out: book versus movie.
Okay.
And I think we both have read the book,
yes,
have we?
Yes.
And the book is obviously written in the 80s, and Soviet Union's around.
Yes.
The book has a lot more of a building towards a world government, people stop having wars, a big change of humanity because of it, and really goes heavy into that. Meanwhile, the movie sticks more into real life, and they show President Clinton, CNN, they show more real life things and don't go into global changing political events on that. Like in the book, it's about a whole movement that starts. Yeah. Which I think they call Machine Co. or Machino or something like that. There is multiple countries building the machine with different levels of success. Yeah. The machine is designed to hold multiple people at once, and so the group of people get to go. And when they come back, they're like, "Yeah, we went." And everyone else is like, "No, you didn't." They're like, "Yeah, we." They have each other to reinforce
the belief, yeah.
Which actually I think was weaker than having one person go.
Yeah, that's one of the the movie. There were things that they did, and it actually worked very well from a storytelling perspective, better than the book.
And the casting they chose was perfect. I mean, Jodie Foster was perfect as that scientist type, and Matthew McConaughey played off the man of the cloth very warmly. Yes. Also, the book shows how God could be proved at the end of it exists. Yeah. Because the alien said, if you want proof of God, look to pi, because pi is a digit that goes on forever. They're like, look into the depths of pi, basically. And so she builds a computer that, at the time, this is early 90s, so I'm sure we've gone well past this as far as pi, but she builds a computer that goes further into pi, printing off, the digits as they go. Eventually, it comes to pi just starts becoming ones and zeros repeating. And if you lay them off in a 10 by 10 grid or 100 by 100 grid or whatever, it forms a perfect circle with the ones and the zeros. Yeah. And it basically is okay, only something intelligent could have created that.
Yeah, a divine creator of sorts. Yeah. Yes. And that's the thing that was interesting about this film and in the book. I mean, you're really the whole concept of the story was the whole premise of trying to, prove in a way that there is a God, and that religion and science don't have to conflict, that they can work together, and that just because science is right and the Earth is as old as we say it is, and dinosaurs did exist. And round. Yes, and round. It is in fact round. No, all these, that can coexist with the beliefs in God, and that God exists, and it's it's very nice way of putting everything together in a nice little package. Yeah. So.
And I haven't seen a movie that does that well or any way similar to that since. No. Some controversies from the movie. The White House was TO'd, that they used President Clinton's likeness without permission, and now Hollywood has to get permission from the White House anytime they want to use that. But it was good use of Clinton talking about the Mars missions at the time to make it sound like he's talking about intelligent life. Yeah. CNN also changed their guidelines because the parent companies of this production studio and CNN are the same. They asked for some CNN anchors come on and do some recordings, so had those background recordings, and 13 of their anchors came over and recorded stuff. And CNN afterwards that just looks bad, an entire network going and recording stuff for our movie. So they have new policies about that now. So they have to clear it with their ethics board. And NASA has strongly, in all possible terms, in every possible way, denied that they've ever given any kind of cyanide or poison pills to any astronaut. And also, at first I was like skeptical, but then one of the astronauts said something that made that they had on there. Oh, Jim Lovell from Apollo 13.
Yeah, Apollo 13.
He said something that made too much sense, and now I'm like, okay, they probably didn't. He's like, if you want to commit suicide, you open up the hatch or cut off your oxygen supply. He's like, we don't need a pill for that.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that makes too much sense.
Well, the thing is, too, is like all you have to do is open your helmet. You're in space. But, also you got to think that, we're thinking about something that's quick and as painless as possible. And in a human...
Instance of being unconscious from opening your helmet.
Yeah. You think about that. And yeah, if you have a lot of knowledge and things, that makes a lot of sense. For a scientific mind, you just open up your helmet. It's pretty much instantaneous, but... Do you know how much that hurts? I mean, I don't know what that would feel like. By the
time the thought went through your head, it'd be too late. Or just cut off your oxygen supply or do something with the things enough to where you've fallen asleep unconscious due to low oxygen or high CO2 or whatever else.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter. You're unconscious. Yeah.
Anyway.
But, I mean, I'm just saying I could see them actually doing that. And the thing I always thought was interesting about is how avidly they denied it. It's like, when somebody's like, oh, no, we didn't do that there was really no point. We had so much confidence. It's like, I guess it's kind of like, I can't remember what movie it was now. Like, for the life of me, I can't think of it. But when it's like, I can think of, plenty of reason. It's not the reasons I can think of.
That's some Contact.
Is it Contact? Yeah. It's 1,000 reasons I can't. Was it that from Contact?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Because, it's all the things I can't think of. And that's the thing, is like, you just...
Here's another thing. NASA is a government agency where all monies get accounted for publicly and transparently, and no one's ever come across any expenditures for cyanide bills.
Cyanide bills. Yeah, there you go. But
and also, two people can't keep a secret. Well, how can a whole agency for 60 years? Okay, that's a different conversation.
Talking the wrong guy, man.
Couple of
aliens on the dark side of the moon, bro.
This was a very accurate portrayal of science in a film. Definitely was a lot better than Armageddon.
Yeah.
The couple of different shots I want to talk about in this movie. The beach scene at the end on the alien planet.
Yeah.
Ever notice anything odd about that scene?
Yeah, a lot of odd things. It's like all reflective and weird.
The waves are shot in reverse.
Yeah.
So I mean, I didn't notice that, or I didn't until I read about that. I watched it again recently. I'm like, that is. That's why the whole thing is unsettling.
Yeah, it seems very, very odd. Everything looks like reflective and weird.
Well, the contrast is turned up to the maximum.
Yeah.
Also, what's talked about is the mirror scene. People still talk about that as far as like just like a fantastic shot when her dad dies. See young Ellie run up the stairs, grab the medicine from the medicine cabinet, and then as the mirror thing opens, like the reflection switched to where you're like, there's no way you could have done a camera tracking.
Yeah.
That's impossible. And so it's just a very, very good bit of filmmaking on that.
Yeah, it was pretty fantastic.
Because even watching it now, like knowing how they did that, I'm like, that's still just amazing.
Yeah, it's a good shot.
Also, the opening sequence, so the longest CGI sequence of movie history at that point in time. When they start off with the Earth and goes backwards, like you hear the radios go back in time. It's the longest CGI opening sequence of all time up until then.
No, that's cool. I didn't know that.
And I saw this one thing. It's like, okay, that was fantastic and all. However, here's all the problems with that. It's just like, like the going backwards in time when the radio signals goes too fast. Like you would actually hear modern music all the way through to well past the solar system.
Yeah,
because it's only a few hours away. Somebody actually, I think it was Neil deGrasse Tyson, commented that if you're actually going that fast to outrun radio signals, you'd be hearing them in reverse, but you can't hear that in a movie, so I'll forgive it. But there's a couple different things like that. Like somebody even commented like the great Jupiter's great red spot was rotating backwards. I'm like, okay, that's just nitpicky.
Yeah.
But it's still very interesting. It's a great one to show to kids too, to show like how big space is, like by doing that zoom out.
Yeah.
Because it just keeps going and going and going. But anyway, that was my Throwback Thursday. Contact, great movie, great sci-fi movie. It's rated PG. It's actually very accessible for kids, especially when I sit down and watch it with them to explain some of the stuff. There's I think 3 light swear words. No violence other than explosion, which you see from a distance. And the only intimate stuff is you see 2 people that maybe cuddling. That's about it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a very tame movie as far as like things that would make it be rated more. So. Great movie for kids if you want to get them into some science and, like, hey, you want to see some aliens? Stick around for 2 hours.
All right. Well, folks, thanks for tuning in to Fan Talk. Throwback Thursdays. We'll see you next Thursday for a couple more movies. And don't forget to make comments down below. If you guys have questions, trivia about the films, any kind of comments, feel free to throw those on there, and we'll give them a look at and get back with you. So until then, don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit us up on Twitter and Facebook.
See you next week.